region has raised fears that an attack on Iran is becoming increasingly likely before President Bush leaves office. The Sunday Times has learnt oh yeah, it's got to be the Brits, it's learnt that up to 5 generals and admirals are willing to resign rather than approve what they consider to be a reckless attack. There are 4 or 5 generals and admirals we know of who would resign if Bush ordered an attack on Iran, a source with close ties to British intelligence be saying. There is simply no stomach for it in the Pentagon, and a lot of people question whether such an attack would be effective or even possible. A British defense source confirmed that there were deep misgivings inside the Pentagon about a military strike. All the generals are...
Who can?
Oh, they're going to show the Al Gore thing again?
They did.
Are you completely...
music cut me off, and
So in the future...
in all seriousness...
he is... You know something? He means well. That's about the best I can say for him.
He does. He has a good heart.
He means well. He's been right on a lot of issues. He's done some important stuff, but, oh, God, is he boring.
I don't think you could give him lessons.
In life?
Like personality lessons, looseness lessons,
Yeah.
Surgically extract the board.
When in doubt, loosen it up, baby. It would have been like trying to give my mother lessons in bowel movements, Speaking of looseness.
Extract
when
the
in doubt,
board.
loosen it up, baby. It would have been like trying to give my mother lessons in bowel movements, Speaking of looseness. But General Peter Pace, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said recently there was 0 chance of a war with Iran. We can only pray. He played down claims by U.S. intelligence that the Iranian government was responsible for supplying insurgents in Iraq, forcing Bush on the defensive. Pace's view was backed up by British intelligence officials who said the extent of the Iranian government's involvement in activities inside Iraq by a small number of Revolutionary Guards was far from clear. According to a report in the New Yorker magazine, the Pentagon's already set up a working group to plan airstrikes on Iran, and that was the Seymour Hersh story I read here before. If you were paying attention, you probably weren't.
Huh?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you ordinarily do pay attention to bedtime stories, but
yes,
because
I do.
You get a pass today because you're trying to stay alive and awake.
I should have just gotten high before I came over here, then I would have noticed the difference.
Burning, smoldering tar seeping through the vents, making these people... Sounds to me like a sick workplace. Sounds to me like a major lawsuit.
That's right. I'm calling OSHA again.
And guess what we got? We got 600 votes on the poll. I think we're going to get to 750. 600 votes on the poll. It's not bad, starting from scratch, starting from a standing start. What do you think? Is Chris impressed? I know you're not.
Huh?
Oh, on the last day... What?
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Boy, you're bad today, man. You're really bad. I don't know what it is with you.
It's funny because we have the door propped open. Nobody's actually doing anything today. Everyone's just milling about in the hall trying to find a place to breathe.
Trying to find a spot where they can't smell it. Kind of like when I was at the Woodbine a week ago Wednesday when that woman was farting all over the place. Oh, talk about a June swoon, only it's in February, middle of February. Good golly, Miss Molly. And you haven't really congratulated me on my tremendous success with making a really good friend on the MySpace.
Congratulations.
Well, everybody was concerned after the Jacob business that I was going to have like a nervous breakdown. And everything went so hunky-dory and so great that I'm just, beyond good. Great. 605 votes on the poll. On the last day of my life, I want to go out having the best damn blank I've ever enjoyed. Sex 218. Wild, uncontrolled, screaming, yelling, carrying on like a lunatic. Three-way 109. Wicked Weed 54. Vacationer Trip 49. I hate this poll. Oh, it keeps going up. See? They're just a bunch of bastards. On the week of my 31st anniversary, although I have had a lot of people say happy anniversary on our MySpace page, and I thank them profusely.
I'm going to go look.
Nice people out there. Huh?
I'm going to go look. Oh, wait.
No, that's right. You can't. Oh, don't send George any emails because he can't read them today. You got no internets. I hate this poll 44. That's up to 7.2%. They're starting to turn really sour. Dream or Fantasy 38. Party 36.
Hey, are you seeing the same commercial that I'm seeing? Home oxygen to you?
Yeah.
Lugging around.
Oh, you knew that.
Write that number down.
Thanks a lot.
Oh, now. Can they deliver it like same-day service?
Not with home oxygen.
Yeah, you need the home oxygen tank and along in that place. Wow. Bowel movement 32, speaking of that. Pizza 11. That keeps inching up there, and I have no idea why. Well, I guess they love their pizza, man. Oh, maybe you're going to live to be 100. You can gum that last slice of pizza,
Just put it in the blender, puree it.
Yeah, that would be good. And drink it. What did you have for lunch? Oh, I drank some pizza. Larry Kent. Remember Larry Kent, big fat Larry Kent?
No. I remember you mentioning him.
He used to be on the air talk guy and a sales shyster at the INZ and WS News. Larry Kent, because he was always huge, really, really fat. And he would order a pizza from Mary's. Oh, Mary's used to be so great, 125th and 441. But anyway... And he would eat the whole pie by himself, but he wouldn't eat the crust. In other words, he would take the fork and eat the toppings, you know, like the pepperoni and cheese and stuff, which I love the topping. I mean, the crust is good, but I can live without it. And guess what?
What?
He's dead.
Oh.
Anyway, bowel movement 32, pizza 11, cigar 4, ice cream 3, drink 3, meal 2, and pee. The best pee of my life on the day I died, only 2. Get it out of your system. Meal has only got 2? How's that possible? Don't you think that's a magnificent choice?
Yes.
I mean, on death row, do they say, okay, you guys want to have the best pee you ever had before we fry your ass, or before we stick the needle in your arm, or you want to have the best meal, huh? Judge Seidlin refuses Arthur's request for a stay. That's Virgie. Oh, that's good. He's probably sitting on a bench in Delray feeding the pigeons right.
Mackinac. This is Joe Bowen, the voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and you're listening to the Hockey Authority, Neil Guy.
Oh! Here I stand, a naked man, in the shower stall. All around us, photo clowns, staring at my balls. We're straight guys talk all the time about men who play games, can't keep their eyes off tight behind, insisting they're not gay. You've got to hide your heart away. You've got to hide your heart away. Towel snaps and happily passes that straight gay old by. Men who talk of other men is a sporthole state of mind. No girls here, just sporthole queers, having fun with the boys. In the locker room I hear boing, 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 boing. You've got to hide your heart away. You've got to hide your heart away.
Yeah, put it back in the closet where it belongs. Who really cares? You know, Norma Kent getting all whipped up about this. It was just another chance for Norma to, like, pat himself on the back.
That's right.
As the founder of the largest gay newspaper in Florida. Quit patting yourself on the back, Norma.
So
that was... Huh?
Did you say you had your dots back?
Oh, I didn't even check. No, I do not have my dots back. Why, you got the internet now?
Yeah.
I got no dots.
I feel civilized again.
I ain't got no dots, though, man.
Yeah. Well,
we got... What do I have to do?
We got nets.
Uh-oh. Well, let me do this...
What I'm wearing, Chris? That's right.
And you know, I still don't have my dots, and now the clock is gone.
Uh-oh.
So I'm regressing here. Uh-oh. Not good. No clock, no dots, no nothing.
I'm under the jar.
I got nothing. So what does that mean?
I don't know.
Well, maybe I'll potch you around with it during the next break. Certainly not now. How come I ain't got no dots?
I wish I could tell you.
Oh. Not a good sign.
Maybe selective portions of
But
the
we are
internet
streaming now. Let's hear it. All right. We are now streaming. For those people out there, and of course, we've got 80 zillion people who have been trying to listen. I checked it on the stats page. We got a tremendous number of people, and of course, none of them were listening, but they just kept trying to, connect and trying and trying and trying and trying and dying and
I'm dying over here.
couldn't get in there. Now we are streaming. We've had 3 dropouts since we came back on there. That's good. So everything is fine except my phone thing here. What do you think that is?
I wish I could tell you. I wish I could speculate.
Huh. Maybe I'll just click that baby one more time over there like that. Come on. You can do it. Nothing's happening. No dots. I mean, usually that comes back spontaneously, you know?
Right.
Cindy Sheehan says Iraqis are people too. After spending 2 heart-wrenching hours listening to 2 Iraqi gentlemen, one an educator, one a scientist, giving agonizing testimony about what's really going on in Iraq outside the green zone, in Istanbul, I returned to my nearby hotel room and read something from the AP that tore my heart apart even further, she says. In the article entitled Americans Underestimate Iraq Death Toll, Christopher Gelpi, a Duke University political scientist who tracks public opinion on civilian casualties in war, said, A better understanding of the Iraqi death toll probably wouldn't change already negative public attitude toward the war much. People in democracies generally don't shy away from inflicting civilian casualties, and they may be even more tolerant of them in situations such as Iraq, where many of these civilian deaths are caused by other Iraqis. This above statement is unspeakably appalling. Why do people in democracies not shy away from inflicting human casualties? If this statement is true, then why are we spreading American brand of democracy, fake elections, and puppet leaders, i.e. Bush and Maliki, all over the world? Why do we want more democracies around the world? To inflict more civilian casualties? This is not acceptable to me, and I renounce governments and shy away from other humans who do accept these casualties, she says. This statement ignored a very basic fact also. The invasion/occupation of Iraq is a horror that was based on lies, deceptions, and greed. The people of Iraq are suffering terribly in their country, while George Bush, Dick Cheney, and 99% of the American public don't have to sacrifice one iota of comfort or concern because of the terror that's being inflicted on a civilian population that have done nothing to be punished so harshly. Another one of our fellow Americans had this to say about civilian casualties. You have to look at who's doing the killing, said Neil Crawford, a restaurant manager in Suttons Bay, Michigan, who guessed that about 10,000 Iraqis have been killed. Right. If these people are dying because a roadside bomb goes off, or if there's an insurgent attack in a marketplace, it's an unfortunate circumstance of war. People die, he says. This comment also ignores the fact that the occupation of Iraq is a war of choice that should never have been waged. No insurgency existed before American troops were forced to roll the tanks into a country that was filled with innocent people. Would Americans take such a cavalier attitude toward unfortunate circumstances of war if there were an equivalent amount of Americans being killed? I don't think so. 3,000 of us were tragically slaughtered on 9/11, and we've used this as a justification to destroy two countries that did not attack us and commit genocide on people who just want to be left alone. Now Bloody George has killed more Americans than Osama bin Laden and many, many times more Iraqis. During the seminar in Turkey, attendees got up to congratulate the Iraqi men on the resistance in Iraq. Human beings across the world, but especially in the Middle and Near East, are proud of the insurgents in Iraq for holding off the mightiest military in history. This makes me sick to my stomach. As the people of Iraq are victims, so are our soldiers who are oftentimes there for their third or fourth deployments. What George Bush has done by bending over backwards, frontwards, and sideways to the oil companies and war profiteers is to make the USA the detested laughingstock of the world and make our soldiers targets of people who don't hate them but hate what they represent. In the article from AP, the median number of Iraqis killed that those polled guessed was 9,890. A very recent scientific, yes, science does work, George, study put the median Iraqi death toll at 655,000, and my contacts in Iraq, including the sheik who spoke yesterday, claim that it's well over 1 million. An equivalent amount of Americans would exceed 10 million people. I don't think anyone would call that an unfortunate circumstance of war. Would the deaths be more acceptable if it was a democracy that attacked us? Now Doomsday Dick is traveling the world reinforcing the nuclear option for Iran, saying that every option is still on the table. For pity's sake, Democrats, can you put impeachment for these murders on the table yet? To prevent one country from developing nuclear energy technology, the U.S. is threatening to drop a nuclear bomb on Iran where millions of moderate Arabs will be endangered. A supposed democracy that spreads peace is willing to use some of its thousands of nuclear bombs again on innocent people. Who will stop these maniacs? The crimes against humanity keep piling up on the Bush regime. If one stipulates that the invasion of Iraq was justified, the Geneva Conventions require that the occupying power protect the occupied, make sure that they have medicine and medical attention, and clean water and food. Bushco has failed its responsibilities to the Iraqi people miserably, and the Iraqi people want our troops out of their country. Dropping nuclear or devastating conventional weapons on Iran would be another crime against humanity for the Bush regime to paste in its scrapbook. A majority of Americans do find the casualties on both sides unacceptable, but now it's time to go from thinking unacceptable to action. We need to get out of our comfy homes and hit the streets in the millions on March 17, especially in Washington, D.C., if for anything else to demonstrate to the people of the world that citizens and democracies don't sanction killing innocent people. We need to do it for our soldiers, but more importantly, for the innocent citizens of Iraq. We need to demand an immediate withdrawal of troops from Iraq, and we need to demand impeachment for Bushco to restore the peace and restore our reputation in the world. After the program, the sheik approached me with a translator and apologized to me for Casey's death, saying, "We don't want to kill your soldiers, but we're protecting our country. It is our country. Time to give the Iraqis their country back. We should never have allowed bloody Bushco to go there in the first place," says Cindy Sheehan. You go, Cindy. And I still have no dots. But during the break, you'll see, I'm going to work on it feverishly, and the dots, too.
Oh, God, Neil.
Goodbye, Anna Nicole, fat pasty Hona. They'll need a shoehorn to wedge you inside a piano case to lower your fat ass in the ground. Guess you can't spend that money now. but you sure died trying. Say, how's that white trash diet that was gonna get you back to lean with whiskey and amphetamine? And I'm really surprised that you knew how to die, because you were that dumb. You accomplished nothing, and yet became a media superstar. I would have asked you to break a 20, but can't no more. And now the corporate media has something other to pitch, outside a crazy pamper-wearing astronaut bitch.
12:45 at QM. So anyway, it's not connected to a server, this thing. I even rebooted the computer. It's not connected to a server, it says.
Huh.
So the dots ain't going to come back. Now, why would this not be connected to a server?
I wish I could tell you.
Well, come on, you're supposed to be a technical genius. Just
Not
because
about,
that tar in there is
that.
rotting your brains out. What?
It is rotten.
Come on, Chris, you're supposed to be the computer
no
expert.
idea.
Well, that's not very good. That's not very helpful to me. Not that I care. That means we can't take any calls from here today.
Kick it.
Old style?
Exactly.
647 votes. I think we got a shot. Maybe I'm crazy. Call me crazy. You're crazy. 800. No?
Okay.
What do you think? Think we can do 800? That would be revolutionary. That would be, especially after doing that stupid thing last night and go to the airport without any coat. I'm coming to Toronto, man, and I'm at the airport with no jacket, no sweater, no coat, with a short sleeve shirt, no undershirt, like some kind of a moron. And it hit me while I was standing there at the security line, and I'm thinking, well, what the hell do I do now? You know?
Help me! Somebody help me!
And nobody would. And the sad part of it is it's such a chintzy freaking airport. You think that wouldn't you think there'd be a souvenir stand where there was some, like, sweatshirts or something, or like light jackets, saying Miami or something? Wouldn't you think?
You'd think.
But there isn't. And they got one concession stand that basically serves that entire Terminal 4 there, and it is terminal. And they're lined up 85 deep, and then it's just, I can't even discuss it with you. And then the women are lined up like 400 deep outside the tea room there to go and take a pee because there's only like a couple of stalls. Whoever designed that terminal ought to be shot. Whoever designed Terminal 4 at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport needs to be shot right now. You suck. Paul Krugman writes, well, it's a good thing I got a good pile here today, you know what?
Yeah, it is.
Good thing I came in here pretty nice and early and got organized, because last night, man, after coming home for that whole episode of the airport and getting the gypsy cab driver, I just hopped in the hot shower and ran right to bed and collapsed, passed out. Paul Krugman says 6 years ago, a man unsuited both by intellect and by temperament for high office somehow ended up running the country. How did that happen? First, he got the Republican nomination by locking up the big money early. Then he got within Chad and butterfly range at the White House because the public, enthusiastically encouraged by many in the news media, treated the presidential election like a high school popularity contest. The successful candidate received kid gloves treatment and a free pass on the fuzzy math of his policy proposals because he seemed like a fun guy to hang out with, while the unsuccessful candidate was subjected to sniggering mockery over his clothing and his mannerisms. Today, with thousands of Americans and tens of thousands of Iraqis dead thanks to presidential folly, with al-Qaeda resurgent and Afghanistan on the brink, you'd think we would have learned a lesson. But the early signs are not encouraging. Presidential elections are high school writ large, of course, declared Newsweek's Howard Feynman last month. Oh, my goodness. But in fairness to Mr. Feynman, he was talking about the almost content-free rivalry between Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, a rivalry that at this point is mainly a struggle over who's the bigger celebrity and about who gets to lock up the big donors. Enough already. Let's make this election about the issues. Let's demand that presidential candidates explain what they propose doing about the real problems facing the nation and judge them by how they respond. I know the counter-argument, you can't tell in advance what challenges a president may face, so you should vote for the person, not the policy details. But how do you judge the person? Public images can be deeply misleading. Remember when Dick Cheney had gravitas? The best way to judge politicians is by how they respond to hard policy questions. So here are some questions for the Democratic hopefuls. I'll talk about the Republicans another time, Paul says. First, what do they propose doing about the health care crisis? All the leading Democratic candidates say they're for universal care, but only John Edwards has come out with a specific proposal. The others have offered only vague generalities, wonderfully uplifting generalities in Mr. Obama's case, with no real substance. Second, what do they propose doing about the budget deficit? There's a serious debate within the Democratic Party between deficit hawks, who point out how well the economy did in the Clinton years, and those who, having watched Republicans squander Bill Clinton's hard-won surplus on tax cuts for the wealthy and effectless war, would give other things, such as universal health care, higher priority than deficit reduction. Mr. Edwards has come down on the anti-hawk side, but which side are Ms. Clinton and Mr. Obama on? I have no idea. Third, what will candidates do about taxes? Many of the Bush tax cuts are scheduled to expire at the end of 2010. Should they be extended in whole or in part? And what do candidates propose doing about the alternative minimum tax, which will hit tens of millions of middle-class Americans unless something is done? Fourth, how do the candidates propose getting America's position in the world out of the hole in the Bush administration is dug? All the Democrats seem to be more or less in favor of withdrawing from Iraq, but what do they think we should do about al-Qaeda's sanctuary in Pakistan? And what will they do if the lame duck administration starts bombing Iran? The point of these questions isn't to pose an ideological litmus test. The point is instead to gauge candidates' judgment, seriousness, and courage. How they answer is as important as what they answer. I should also say that although today's column focuses on the Democrats, Republican candidates shouldn't be left off the hook. In particular, someone needs to make Rudy Giuliani, who seems to become the Republican frontrunner, stop running exclusively on what he did on 9/11. Over the last 6 years, we've witnessed the damage done by a president nominated because he had the big bucks behind him, and elected sort of because he came across well on camera. We need to pick the next president on the basis of substance, not image. Elected sort of, that's the operative phrase in there. Paul Krugman in today's New York Times. 656 votes on the poll. I don't think we're going to make 800. Why the hell did you come up with a ridiculous number? I think we were safe for the 750. Would have been nice.
They can do it.
Didn't we? What? We did the break at 40. I know we did that because I was posturing around and trying to get the dots back on the phone. It's not going to happen. And the clock is gone, too. Why would that be?
I don't know.
Huh. Well, let me try all over again. I'm going to shut down. Like the Beach Boys said, shut it down.
Yeah.
And I'm rebooting again. I mean, I know nothing's going to happen. But at least it makes me feel good like I'm trying to do something as opposed to just sitting here saying, oh, the dots aren't working. We're still streaming. We only had the 3 dropouts. People can actually hear this crap. I mean, this great show online. Oh, and look at that screen that just came up on there. Oh, and it's rebooting now.
Okay.
Isn't that exciting? Are you ready? Are you on the edge of your seat there? Are you on pins and needles?
Yes.
What does that mean, on pins and needles? That's another stupid expression, sitting on pins and needles. Have you ever seen the spots, I'm sure you have, on TV where they talk about the pain, what, like needle pains in your legs? What do they call it? Restless leg syndrome?
That's
what do they call it?
RLS.
You've seen that.
Mm-hmm.
You know anybody who's ever had that? I mean, I think they invented that.
They did.
I think they just invented that so they could peddle some other stupid drug that'll probably kill you. The Searchers, the Needles and Pins. I'm thinking 1963 is my guess.
64.
No dots. No dots, no clock. How could the clock was there all the time. How can a clock be out?
I don't know.
Ezio Pinza and Needles and Pinza. I can't say that. I like the Searchers. They're pretty good. But when they say Needles and Pinza, I mean, come on, let's get serious.
Hey,
let's cut the crap. Needles and Pinza. Oy vey. Hey, speaking of being on Needles and Pins, we got Curtis for the Mad Dog at 2 o'clock. Eddie K. and Dave Hyde between 4 and 5. Wow, what is that? Ed Kaplan 5 to 7 for the Humper. And then we got a bunch of stuff nobody cares about. 661 votes on the poll. On the last day of my life, I want to go out having the best damn blank I've ever enjoyed. I wonder what Gene Rayburn would have said. The best damn blank. Sex, 237. Three-way, 120. So you put those two together and you really got like 54%. Because those, you know, I mean, 3-way, 5-way, 10-way, wild Roman orgy. What's wrong with that? Of course, you know what Roman orgy is included? Gay. But nevertheless.
I'm sure they had options.
Yeah, there were plenty of options.
I'll be in the hetero corner, thank you very much.
And I'll be in the homo corner. I'll be watching everything going on. I'm always curious. Wicked Weed 56. What? Vacation or trip 55. I hate this pool. It just keeps inching up there. 51. I hate the ventum, man. Like that illiterate guy said, the ventum just seeping on through. You can smell it. You can sniff it. You can taste it. It's so bad. I hate this pool. 51. 7.7%. Inching up to like 8. Dream or fantasy? 40. That's a stupid answer. You don't want to dream about something great happening on your last day. You want to experience it, okay? You want to experience it. Party 38, bowel movement 33. What could be wrong with that? Oh, explosive. And you know, if it's the last day you're going to be alive, you don't even have to waste your time wiping, right? What difference does it make?
Right.
Unless you go to a party. Oh, party 38, bowel movement 33, pizza 12. Maybe it's a pizza party. Oh, chicken and broccoli pasta. That looks really good.
28 grams of mostly
look at all the calories in the fat. Oh, you don't like that?
broccoli.
Macaroni and cheese with broccoli. That looked really good, and I like that cheese. It looked like it was like cheddar cheese melted all over the pasta there. Mmm.
By the way, I thought you had this problem with milk.
I don't like milk. I like cheese.
Okay.
In other words, you're telling me that eating cheese is like drinking milk?
Eating cheese is milk, and so is ice cream.
Yeah. So in other words, now I'm not supposed to eat ice cream or cheese? Cheese, at least I can eat on the
say that. I'm not the one that has a problem with milk. You're the one that's, oh, milk.
You're the one that was raving about Cold Stone Dreamery.
Oh, that's
Pizza
phenomenal
13,
stuff. Stay away from it.
Meal, best damn meal 7. See, it's starting to inch up a little bit. It should be much higher than that. On the last day of my life, I want to have the best damn ice cream I ever... I'm sorry, Cigar 4, Ice Cream 3. How about going to a Cold Stone Creamery and getting a big, like a 10-gallon vat? You know, all mixed in together, like all the different smashed together?
Yeah,
and then smoking a big stogie while you're enjoying your ice cream.
They can just pour it right into the coffin, and then you can just lay there in the coffin eating the ice cream.
I like it.
And they won't have to move you.
Pour that Cold Stone cream right in the box.
Sure.
Well, ice cream 3, drink 3, and pee 2. Well, I think the pee people are done. We had 2 pee people early, and those are probably pee people that ain't got no pee-pee, or just ain't doing too well with that. 671 votes. I'm going out on a limb. I'm saying, Chris, we can make 800 a day. Headline news in the Chicago Tribune, New York Times, L.A. Times, Weekly Reader, if we make 800 votes.
I'm doing well.
It's a 2-hour!
We singled you out 'cause you look like a freak, with eyes that bulge out and a nose like a bee. Don't want any viewers to go, but you on at the end of the show, 'cause you're dorky and you're fat. You waddle in, this is your big chance, but everyone laughs at your gigantic pants. We say your voice is a total train wreck, and then we make fun of your birth defects. Laughing at you is kinda sad, 'cause you have a bad face, you're a little bit slow. Weirdos like you make this the #1 show. Randy has a blank stare, Simon says cruel things. It's morons like you that drive, call it a drink. You have a bad face, the camera don't lie. You're on a freak show called American Idol. You have a bad face. Oh, you have a bad face.
We have a bad push, man. It's grotesque. 102 at 560 WQAM. Curtis Stevenson for the Mad Dog at 2. And then that's strange. Don't you find the schedule a little bit bizarre today? A little bit inexplicable?
I find the air a little bizarre today and a little inexplicable.
Don't start bellyaching again about the tar, baby. I don't know what I'm going to do about this. What?
Maybe they knew about the tar before us.
Yeah, maybe I never thought about that. Maybe that Mad Dog and the Humper knew that it was going to be
That's right. They were tipped off.
Unbreathable. Somebody gave him a tip. Somebody gave him a heads up. I'm going to tell you, I want to stick my head right up the bottom of this damn computer screen. What's the story with that? How come the clock is gone, huh? And it says not connected to a server now.
I'm sure it's a related problem.
Well, put it this way.
What the hell? That was pretty profound.
Wasn't it deep?
No, George has internet, and I don't.
So.
Oh, okay, all right. So
and we're 5
don't be giving me. I mean, we are streaming again. Thank the Lord for that. We're streaming over here, not screaming. We're streaming. Nobody likes a screamer, but a streamer. That's another story. What are streamers? Streamers are like those things they have at parades and stuff, right?
Sure. Yes, they stream. And if you step on them, they stream.
Then there's the old Airstream, and not only that, but what's going on with this poll thing here? Boy, I thought, like I said, we're going for 750. As soon as I said 800, man, they slowed down to a crawl. They stopped. And this is a poll that everybody's got to have an opinion on. There's nothing wrong with this poll at all. Although we got 7.7% say they hate it. They hate it. No matter what we put on there, they hate it. We just hate. We hate you. We hate the show. We hate the station. We hate the life. That's South Florida for you, man. God, what a place. I can't begin to tell you. Although I am going to be coming back more often. but not because I like it. 687 votes on that poll. Yeah, I like it. I like my weekend, I'll tell you that. I had a fine time. It was just a great experience. All you skeptics out there, well, you're never going to make any friend on the Internet. You got all these people are fake. They're all make-believe. Whatever you say, okay? Just continue in your cocoon, okay? Just continue being a pen pal to some stranger on there, never meeting them, never encountering, never enjoying the pleasure of their company, you know. Never putting your arm around and giving a big hug and a little squeeze and a little... No, there was no that. That's next time. 688 on the poll. We'll be lucky to make the 700 the way this thing is slowed out. And then the phone thing is all, well, like I said. Well, here's the story about poor Al Gore, boy. He can't get no respect. Orchestra drowns out Gore's announcement at the Oscars, but his documentary won 2 awards. Pressed by Best Actor nominee Leo DiCaprio to announce something important at the 79th Academy Awards last night, former VP Al Gore, an Oscar nominee himself for his hit global warming documentary, took a little too long to get to the kicker, so the orchestra drowned him out. And when you see the video clip of that, he looks like he just got hit by a freight train. Talk about deer in the headlights. Poor Al. Exactly, just like that. Gore appeared as a special guest of DiCaprio, who told the crowd that the Oscars had turned green, as he used the occasion to call on the U.S. government to introduce legislation that would enforce a reduction of carbon emissions. Always like that, Leo. Not. But, you know, he could change my opinion. He could turn me around, so to speak, although I hope he didn't stand in too close. No. Oh, God, no. Don't turn me around. No way, Jose.
Rectum.
Cleaner cars, energy-efficient homes, and green building help reduce greenhouse gas emissions, DiCaprio said in a statement issued Sunday before the ceremony. I didn't know he was like some kind of a big environmental activist.
Well, what do you know?
Yeah. Because I always hated him like poison. Any movie with him on it, I wouldn't watch it if he paid me by the frame, okay? Forget about by the second. By the frame, I wouldn't watch it. But maybe he, like I said, he'll turn all of our ass around, Leo DiCaprio, and in some cases he probably would like to. We need our leaders in Washington to listen to the growing chorus of scientists and experts saying that we must put in place binding emission reductions to combat global warming, DiCaprio's statement continued. After DiCaprio lauded Gore for helping to raise awareness about global warming, he prodded him into revealing his 2008 plans in a major announcement. After saying that he was just here for the movies, Leo, Gore said he hadn't planned on it, but feeling inspired, he attempted to read a prepared speech, that is, until the orchestra cut him off. I guess with 1 billion people watching, it's as good a time as any, said Gore. So my fellow Americans, I'm going to take this opportunity here and now to formally announce my intentions. And then the music. That must have all been staged. That must have been like, that was supposed to be a joke, only nobody laughed. It was an accident, but somebody got hurt. While Gore has said that he has no intention of seeking the nomination for president again, many of his fervent supporters still hope he can be roped into running for the open presidency in 2008. If Gore decides to run, bada beep, bada boop, bada bop, we all know that. Ellen DeGenerate, that dyke, host of Sunday's Oscar ceremonies, called out Gore during her opening monologue. After pointing out that Jennifer Hudson had lost on TV's American Idol but was now in the audience as nominee for the Best Supporting Actress for the musical Dreamgirls, DeGenerate noted that Gore was also nominated, even though he had once won, a reference to the 2000 presidential election, which bada beep, bada boop, bada bop, which the Supreme Court gave to Bush. DeGenerate said, I've tried to figure it out, and there's no rhyme or reason who's going to win. Look at Jennifer Hudson. She was on American Idol. America didn't vote for her, and she's here with an Oscar nomination. And here's Al Gore. America did vote for him, and then, bada beep, bada boop. Gore was up for his best documentary for his film An Inconvenient Truth, while DiCaprio was nominated for a leading role in Blood Diamond. And you know something? I don't care what a great activist he is, Leo, and what he's saying all the right things. I still can't deal with it, man. He looks like he just got off the spaceship, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the Moonanites. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's one of the Moonanites. You think?
That would explain a lot.
Got off that ship. 692 votes. If we push it here before the break, we can get to 700. But we never would make it at 697. We would need 103 votes in 52 minutes. That's about 2 a minute. What do you think, Chris? Should we push it and then we'll be left with egg on our puss if we don't make it?
We'll do it.
Because they're not coming in like in big chunks like they're really enthused and excited about it. Probably because we couldn't take any calls today. Punch up one of the lines that's not ringing. I don't hear a thing.
Oh, wait.
Oh, there you go.
Here's one. Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a joke.
I beg your pardon?
The thing with Gore.
Yeah. What did I just get through saying? It sounds to me like it was supposed to be a lame joke, like it was supposed to be funny, and then the orchestra interrupted.
Did you see it?
No, I saw the clip.
You didn't find it amusing?
No.
Oh.
I thought it was scary. I thought that his, and of course he was only acting. I thought.
Have you seen the movie?
No, I have not.
Oh.
Any other questions?
I'll get back to you.
Okay. Oh, too bad we can't take some of these great calls. You know, it's like an interrogation. There are like 20 questions. Did you see the movie? Did you see the clip? Did you? No, but I had a real good bowel movement this morning. Does that make you feel better? You jerk. Refresh the thing there, 697. Let's take a look and see. We got 700 votes even. Now, like I said, our goal was 700. Battle in the Bahamas over custody of Anna Nicole's body. Anybody care about that?
No.
If you do, you're a crazy person. That's all I can tell you. It just leaves me shaking my head, and especially now that the judge, he's going to go off to CBS. What good is it without the judge? Oh, there she is with her dead son.
Now, we did hear from a Bahamian source, one very close to the investigation, that U.S. law enforcement officials are in Nassau today and have an appointment to talk to Anna Nicole Smith.
Oh, they're good. I bet they have a hell of a conversation, okay? They have an appointment to speak to Anna Nicole. Can we hear the conversation? Wouldn't you love to hear that?
All right. No?
It was 46 years ago, but the survivors remember all the gruesome details of their ride inside a sealed semi-trailer following the failed Bay and Pigs invasion. Urine and excrement sloshed on the floor, and men and boys, more than 100 men captured by the Cuban militia, took turns breathing fresh air out of a small hole somewhere and punched in the truck's side. That's what you guys need to do there in the building.
I'm starting
to go off into the
now.
bullpen and knock a window out. When the truck stopped 8 hours later in Havana, 9 of the men inside were dead. Today, Miami-based survivors of the invasion plan to file a lawsuit against Cuban military commander Osmani Cienfuegos, who they say gave the order to pack the men into the truck, and Fidel Castro. We believe we have enough proof that the crime was committed by these two individuals, said Juan R. Lopez de la Cruz, a retired U.S. Army colonel and Bay of Pigs veteran who lives in Miami. Lopez de la Cruz spoke to the Herald yesterday from Madrid, where the group is planning to file a lawsuit today. Well, they already did. It's 7 o'clock at night there now. The invasion veterans want their case heard in a Spanish court, which has asserted jurisdiction for human rights abuses in countries around the world. A similar court indicted former Chilean dictator Augusto Pinochet. Now, do you say Pinochet or Pinochet?
I didn't say neither.
Oh. We hope the Spanish courts will listen and recognize this is a very clear-cut case. Very clear-cut case, Lopez de la Cruz said. Hopefully the men responsible will receive the justice we're asking for. And, of course, everybody knows for justice we must go see
Don Corleone.
Exactly. How the hell are we going to get it in some Spanish stupid court? But nevertheless. Well, I tell you what, I don't know what we're going to do with this phone thing. Now, aren't the engineers scurrying around there with all kinds of advice what we need to do? But I'm glad that Chris told me that his internet's still up. So in other words, only like a piece of the puzzle is back.
Correct.
A piece of the puzzle. Just a little piece, which, a little piece ain't bad.
Enough to wet your beak.
Yeah, that's right. 704 on the pull. I think we got 750 licked. 800, no chance. No way, Jose. Don't overdo it on a Monday, especially when it's a holiday that we didn't know anything about.
Rectum.
My wife took the car to the mall. She drives my Buick and she's 3 feet tall. I wouldn't ride with her, no way. I said I'd meet her there later today. So I'm just sitting on a bench in Del Rey, waiting for the lolly bus to take me away. Boy, I'm just sitting on a bench in Del Rey with my friend Sheehan. Looks like it's time to check my change, 'cause the bus fares don't always stay the same. I'm not gonna do what Yetta tells me to do. To drive at her age, she must be insane. Just sitting here resting my bones, wondering why my wife won't leave me alone. We've talked it over, but I never win. I just wind up schlepping through the mall again. Oi, so I sit on the bench in Del Rey, waiting for the lolly bus to take me away. Oi, I'm just sitting on a bench in Del Rey with my friend Sheehan. And there he is. It's about damn time. I've been waiting here all damn day on this bench. Where the hell have you been? Hey, where the hell are you going? Come back, you schmuck.
Yeah, you schmuck. 118 at 560 WQAM. Jesus' tomb claim sparks furor. Well, I tell you, it's a good thing I got some good stuff, including the story about the Oklahoma City bombing. Did you read that off of Prison Planet? And, of course, some people say, oh, Prison Planet, those are those paranoid, conspiratorial-minded lunatics. Well, sometimes they are. But nevertheless, we'll get to that. Claims by a Canadian documentary filmmaker to have found not only the burial place of Jesus, but his DNA and evidence that he had a son are being dismissed as fanciful and absurd by both church leaders and archaeologists. I think this is more fanciful and absurd theorizing. Every Christian knows that Jesus, the Son of God and man, died and rose again on Easter Sunday, said Joseph Zwilling. Every Christian knows it. A spokesperson for the Catholic Church in New York, where details of the discovery will be unveiled today. No alleged DNA test or Hollywood film is going to change that, he told the New York Post. The discovery could have profound implications 2,000 years after the boxes were placed in the ground, shaking the foundations of modern faith and raising Da Vinci Code-like speculation that Jesus had a child with Mary Magdalene. It's mind-boggling. It's an altered reality, Toronto documentary director Simcha Jacobovici told the Star.
Huh?
Jacobovici. Whatever his name.
What word did you say?
That was it. The burial box of Jesus, and one said it belonged to Mary Magdalene, will be on display at a press conference in New York City to announce the $4 million documentary, The Lost Tomb of Jesus. Location of the press conference being kept secret to prevent a mob scene. Oh.
Part of the solution, and we can solve
it. There's Al again. It was a stunt. How come the stories don't say it was a stunt with the music interrupting him? Because they're dumb. Jacobovici said the discovery should not shake anyone's belief in the resurrection of Jesus, saying he consulted several theologians in making the film. Because it's bad for business if they, convince people it was a bunch of crap. What convinced people in the New Testament of the resurrection was Jesus' appearances, not his disappearance from the tomb. Traditional Christian belief holds that Jesus ascended bodily to heaven. More liberal interpretations of the Bible have allowed for a spiritual ascension, whatever that means.
Just as spirit rose.
Yeah.
The carcass stayed there and rotted.
Oh, not good. Kind of like Anna Nicole?
Kind of like.
I'm not a theologian. I don't want to take on anyone, said whatever his name is, Jacobovici, known as the Naked Archaeologist for his TV show by that name. Oh, brother. The show airs on Discovery in the U.S. and on Channel 4 in the U.K. on Sunday. Was that Sunday yesterday or is it next Sunday? I don't know. It doesn't say. And March 6th in Canada on Vision TV. A book, The Jesus Family Tomb by I can't say that name, Jacobovici and Charles Pellegrino, is out this week. Titanic director James Cameron, executive producer of the documentary, wrote the introduction. James Tabor, chair of religious studies at the University of North Carolina, and an expert featured extensively in the Lost Tomb, said the discovery of the tomb could even strengthen the belief of anyone who doubted that Jesus even existed. To have a material link to Jesus is wonderful, he says. It's an archaeological dream. Tabor, an experienced archaeologist, says that as an academic he's seen enough to convince him of the evidence, but admits to some trepidation about claiming that the tomb of Jesus has been found. There's a part of you that says, it's too amazing, how can it be right, Tabor told the Toronto Star. Critics already are dismissing the documentary's claims. It's a beautiful story, but without any proof whatsoever, said Amos Kloner, professor at Israel's Bar Ilan University. He told the Deutsche Press. Kloner researched the tomb for the Israeli periodical Atakot in 1996. Jacobovici says there's nothing in the documentary that should offend devout Christians. Well, why not? Since he doesn't argue that Jesus did not ascend to heaven, at least spiritually, as told in the Bible. The tomb was unearthed in 1980 during construction of an apartment building and was first connected to the Jesus family in a 1996 BBC documentary. Why wouldn't it be the Christ family? Jacobovici's documentary uses scientific methods including DNA testing, statistical analyzation, and forensic examination not available to the BBC 11 years ago. The film and book follow years of growing interest in the private life of Jesus. Oh, God, I want to hear more. Fueled by the 2003 Dan Brown novel, The Da Vinci Code, made into a movie last year, in which Jesus is said to have married Mary Magdalene and had a daughter, sparking a centuries-long cover-up. I wonder if he got tricked into having that daughter, George.
I wonder.
The novel, denounced by church groups around the world, spawned a mini-industry speculating about the historical Jesus, his relationship to Mary and his family life. Church leaders, including the Pope, dismissed the book and movie as pure fiction. He preferred the Mel Gibson one, of course. It is as it was.
Yeah, the Lashing of the Christ.
Right. This is archaeology. We got the casket, we got the bones, he told the Star. I think we can say in all probability Jesus had this son Jude. Maybe that's where that Beatles song came from, huh? Hey Jude. It wasn't Jude Law they were singing about. It was Jesus' son, presumably through Mary Magdalene. What does that mean, through Mary Magdalene? By way of? There we go. DNA test conducted for the documentary at Lakehead University on 2 ossuaries. One inscribed Jesus, son of Joseph, and the other Mary confirmed that the 2 were not related by blood, so were probably married. Perhaps Jesus and Mary Magdalene were married, as the DNA results from the Tappy ossuaries suggest, and perhaps their union was kept secret to protect a potential dynasty, a secret hidden through all the ages, narrator Ron White says over reenacted scenes of a happy Jesus and Mary home life. Oh, don't tell me they were doing it. Well, I guess this was not another Immaculate Conception. They were doing it. A secret may just be able to uncover in the Holy Family tomb. He said the tomb was found in the Talpiot neighborhood of Jerusalem during the construction of an apartment building in 1980, and Al Goldstein said, use the apartment. And nobody ever did, including Joe Costello, who didn't even know Al Goldstein. That was, I'll never forget that. Your good buddy, Joe Costello. He really's got some chutzpah, Huh? Am I right about that episode, or am I misreading that too? I don't
even know what you're talking about.
He was going to New York.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. And, Al Goldstein was always saying to us, use the apartment, whether it was the one in New York, the one in Amsterdam, back when he had money before he went to jail and they ruined his life.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe, I think, called him and asked to use the apartment. And, of course, Al didn't know him from Mishi Pipik. He had no idea who the hell Joe Costello was. He sure had chutzpah, that Joe, But you know what they say in Godfather 3?
What?
Nobody wants another Joe.
Oh.
Except, what they want, another Joe? Starbucks. Another cup of Joe. What is the big deal with it? I guess
you're not a coffee guy. You don't like coffee.
No, it's not that I don't like it. I can't drink it. I certainly like all the sweetened drinks that they sell and everything else. But like I told you, like in the Eaton Center, they have a Starbucks like right in the middle of one of the floors.
Yeah.
And you can't read the damn menu. Maybe I should bring in binoculars next time. My eyesight's pretty good, but I can't read the damn menu.
Huh.
All those fruity drinks that you're tell me I ought to get, loaded with sugar.
Oh, that I'm telling you ought to get. Yeah.
I know why you're doing that, because you want to be in my will. That's why everybody keeps saying George ought to be in your will.
Mm-hmm.
Just like when people start bringing home a bunch of candy from Walgreens when I'm in Florida, trying to get my blood sugar up to about 600.
Don't die.
A lot of people want to get to that will before I decide to change it pretty soon. 729 votes on the poll. You know something, Chris? I think it's my bad. If I'd have really leaned on this baby, we could have got to 8, I mean, 750, I think, is a given, isn't it?
Yeah.
We ought to play Bill Withers and lean on me.
And say cheese.
Ever wonder what happened to the British supergroup Oasis? Lots of people thought they'd finally run out of ways to rip off the Beatles. Not even close. Oasis is back with a new CD that's like nothing you've never heard before. It's Oasis. Don't Let It Be.
Be united right away.
Oasis, Don't Let It Be, gives you a chance to listen over and over again to incredibly original songs like this.
I'd like to be beneath the surface of the ocean in an 8-armed sea creature's cultivation patch with you.
Oasis, Don't Let It Be will move you. It will astound you. It will make John Lennon spin in his grave.
And at the conclusion, the love you receive is directly proportionate to the love you emit.
And look for Noel Gallagher's new solo LP, Abbey Highway, on Snapple Records.
132, 28 till 2. I'll tell you one thing. This thing flew by here today. It was not too bad. I don't know about for you, but it was okay.
It was bad. It was really, really bad.
It was bad for you, not because of the show, but because you're inhaling all those toxic fumes there from all the tarring on the roof. And nobody is doing anything about it, like maybe even bringing like a little a fan or something?
Well, we opened the door and it made it a little bit better because it wasn't so bad out in the hall.
Boy, you are sure just full of misery and angst today, man.
Whoa.
Full of belly aching and whining.
Whoa.
And here I'm in such a great mood, and one of the happy moods of my lifetime, I would say. What? Oh, well, thanks a lot. Well, screw you. It's the first thing you asked me this morning, man, before you were telling me about no internet and this and that. And how did your weekend go and your big lunch and all this other good stuff? And I said, sensational.
Genuinely
sensational,
concerned.
Man.
I was genuinely, I wanted it to go well.
Well, let me just ask you this, seriously.
Yes.
Because as you know, I've had, my close, good personal friends are always giving me advice, and I'm not blaming them because I've been just, since the Jacob business, all over everybody, including you, like a crazy person, but that because I'm just, I'm an old codger, man, and getting involved in a young person's venue
world,
there.
Right?
That's right, a young person's world. But what is it that could go so wrong? I don't understand. I understand somebody doesn't show up.
That's just
I knew he was going to show up. What?
Any little variable could have happened, and that would have sent you for a loop compared to, based on the way that you've been acting lately.
Well, what the hell does that mean?
That means he could have been 5 minutes late. That means something could have happened. Any number of things that there would have been a nice,
Don't
calm,
you think
reasonable...
I got there early and I was like text messaging to make sure that he had the way down the Hershey Highway, since so that's not an area of town that either one of us are.
Any number of little things might have sent you into orbit, considering the way that you've been
I got
acting
a little thing
lately.
for you.
Well,
but there was no little thing. There was no.
Great.
Everything was sensational.
I'm ecstatic.
Beyond my wildest dreams or expectations. That's how good it was. Okay.
I'm nipple-twisting thrilled about it.
I wouldn't go quite that far, but nevertheless. I want you to know I kept my hands above the table at dinner the entire meal, okay, at lunch. Kept my hands above the table. Everything was very above board, as they say.
And your feet?
One-time Florida International University professor Carlos Alvarez and his wife, Elsa, supplied agents of Castro's government with classic intelligence information that went far beyond the harmless gossip the couple said they gathered on the Cuban exile community, federal prosecutors said today. On the eve of the couple's sentencings tomorrow, the U.S. Attorney's Office disclosed for the first time that the FBI obtained material from one of the Alvarez's home computers showing that rather than reducing their illicit operation in the mid-'90s, they were still actively contacting the Cuban intelligence service. In court papers filed today, prosecutors cited sensitive details gathered from Slack space on the Alvarez's computer showing that Carlos Alvarez prepared written reports on FBI President Modesto Medic's personal finances and private business ventures, a redacted U.S. government study on the status of telecommunications in Cuba, and brothers to the rescue leader, Jose Basulto, including an investigation should continue into the ties he's got to the CIA, the Cuban-American National Foundation, and financial interests such as Bacardi. And does anybody care? Anybody care? Oh, there's the biblical bones story.
Greater interest in studying more about...
Oh, yeah. Let's dig up some more bones.
More about archaeology, more about history. And I think that in terms of Christians, they're going to have to reevaluate the basis upon which they hold faith in Jesus. Is it because of historical reasons, or is it because
It's because there were some real good salesmen who pitched that story really good, and they made a lot of people an offer they couldn't refuse. That helped a lot. That's why some things last through the ages, because people didn't really have much of a choice, I guess. 736 votes. We need only 14 more for 750, which would be really easy. Boy, Chris, now as you look back in retrospect, you see what you could have done here today? You could have been a hero. Am I right? Couldn't he have been the big hero? Okay. But because he's a little bit incoherent, of course, I'm looking up and seeing if I got any dots. I don't even have the clock back on here, for Christ's sakes. Oh, sorry, there's with that Jesus again. I don't have nothing. No dots. Doesn't bother me. Don't let me forget to get to that story about Oklahoma City and the bombing, etc., if I got time.
Don't forget.
Only about 600 pages. She's a 200-pound-plus hugging machine, but her affection comes with a price. Police are warning men about the hugging bandit, who heartily embraces men coming out of downtown bars in Buffalo and leaves them without a wallet. Dozens of men say they've been victims. Police say others are too embarrassed to admit it. She doesn't just go up and hug you, said Detective Sergeant Tom Donovan. She actually grabs them, tries to talk them into something more, and there goes their wallet. Like the gypsies that you were bellyaching about.
Yep. All
those
over
gypsies
the place.
in Rome.
They're everywhere, man. They're thick.
The hugging bandit's been striking for about the past decade, typically between 2 and 4 o'clock in the morning. She uses the credit card she steals within hours of her theft, just like those gypsies in Rome. As far as I can tell, she waits until it's late at night, and these guys coming out of the bars are tipsy, Donovan said. They're either going to go to their car or they're going to a hot dog vendor. She makes sure that they're rip-roaring drunk is what she does. Officers believe she's a 48-year-old Buffalo woman they've arrested 17 times between 1998 and 2005 for similar schemes, as well as prostitution and criminal possession of stolen property. Well, at least you get a hug.
Mm-hmm.
The most recent theft was early yesterday. A man told police a heavyset woman approached him for sex. When he said no, she gave him a hug and left with his wallet containing $25, his driver's license, and debit cards. That sounds like my lunch meeting on Saturday. Oh, that's cute. On Wednesday, police showed the man a photo array that included the woman suspected in the case. The man admitted he was too drunk to remember her ass or the rest of her either. Well, there you go. The hugging bandit. At least you get a little hug out of something, right? Nothing wrong with a hug. 738 on a poll. 750 is a foregone contusion. And unfortunately, we're going to fall a little short. What did I say when I came up with that 800 crap? The good thing is we're streaming it, baby. We're streaming. George's got the internet back. I'm sure Chris doesn't have his.
No, it's up now.
It is?
Yes, sir.
Well, how come I don't have my stuff here? Oh, let me click that thing.
I don't know.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. How about if I reboot it one more time?
I'm under the judge. I'm under the judge.
Can't hurt. It's not going. I'm sure it's not going to do anything. But so in other words, it's like a patchwork deal. It's coming back in chunks, you know.
We'll patch you with it hardcore tomorrow morning.
Watch what?
We'll potchkey with it hardcore tomorrow morning.
Oh, we're going to have some hardcore stuff on there? Good. And I'll come in and watch that. 21 till 2 at QAM.
And now, former Vice President Al Gore on global warming.
This is former Vice President Al Gore on global warming. Take it from me, the man who invented the Internet, the man who invented the mock turtleneck, and the man who invented the Chia Pet, the Frisbee, and chocolatey Cocoa Puffs. We are in trouble. People laughed at me when I first spoke of global warming, but who's laughing now? I am sick to death of hearing meteorologists say the weather patterns have been caused by El Nino, which in Spanish means little boy. How could a small child be responsible for changes in the worldwide weather? I've seen little boys stop Joe Pesci from robbing their house, but I have never seen them accurately forecast atmospheric abnormalities. My innovative ideas were featured in the full-length motion picture entitled The Inconvenient Truth. Admittedly, it was a 2-hour PowerPoint slideshow presentation, but I have been nominated for an Oscar. Apparently, the Academy was awestruck by my keyboard stroking. I have already selected a prime piece of real estate on my mantelpiece for that baby. It'll go right next to my Boy Scout of the Year award, which I won at age 39. The ice caps are disintegrating at an alarming rate, sort of like Barack Obama's chances of becoming president. The ice sheets in Greenland I spoke of in my movie, and the subsequent melting thereof, are akin to an El Nino in the sun with an El Popsicle. People need to listen to me. We need to release less carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and grow more plants and trees. I suggest starting with marijuana, which I personally do not smoke, though many people have attributed my slow and deliberate speech pattern and lazy eye to being a pothead. Trust me when I tell you, my irritating tonal quality and monotone delivery are inherently mine. In conclusion, trust the word of me, the 45th Vice President of the United States, when I tell you, should we continue on our current path, we are screwed. The solution for this global warming problem can be found in a lockbox in my home in Nashville, Tennessee. I alone possess the single key to unlock the box, though you can get your own key by picking up The Inconvenient Truth on DVD, now available at Best Buy, Circuit City, Amazon.com, or Ralph's Snatch and Grab, located in Hendersonville, Tennessee. I went to school with Ralph. He used to beat me about the head and face with his metal Scooby-Doo lunch pail. I got him back by sleeping with his wife at a key party in 1973. And since that time, we have become fast friends. It's time to take responsibility for the world we live in and stop blaming that kid from Mexico.
Former Vice President Al Gore now runs and maintains a Build-A-Bear workshop at the Stone River Mall in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. He is completely crazy.
752 votes. I told you we'd make the 750 easy. And if we just go to about 230, we can probably make the 1,000, the whatever we want, 800. But we're not going to do that. New Oklahoma City revelations spotlight FBI involvement in the bombing. New claims by Oklahoma City bombing conspirator Terry Nichols that Tim McVeigh was being steered by a high-level FBI official are supported by a plethora of evidence. that proves McVeigh did not act alone and that authorities had prior warnings and were complicit in the bombing of the Alfred P. Murrah building. The Salt Lake City Tribune reported on last week, Wednesday.
Hey, don't forget to read that Oklahoma City bombing story.
Okay. Oklahoma City bombing conspirator Terry Nichols says a high-ranking FBI official apparently was directing Timothy McVeigh in the plot to blow up a government building and might have changed the original target of the attack according to a new affidavit filed in U.S. District Court in Utah. The official and other conspirators are being protected by the federal government in a cover-up to escape its responsibility for the loss of life in Oklahoma, Nichols claims in a February 9th affidavit. Documents that supposedly held back up his allegations have been sealed to protect information in them, such as Social Security numbers and date of birth. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Utah had no comment on the allegations. The FBI and Justice Department in Washington, D.C. also declined comment. In another report, the Deseret Morning News named the FBI agent Larry Potts, but that information has now been sealed by the court. Potts was no stranger to anti-government confrontations, having been the lead FBI agent at Ruby Ridge 92, which led to the shooting death of Vicki Weaver, the wife of separatist Randy Weaver. Potts also reportedly was involved in the 51-day siege of the Branch Davidian compound in Waco, Texas in '93, which resulted in that fire that killed 81 Branch Davidian followers. I remember being on the air at IOD that day. Remember that day?
Yeah.
When they threw all the crap in there, the tear gas and stuff, and the fire started, and all those people were inside, and they were like all going like,
I'm dying over here.
Potts retired from the FBI under intense pressure and criticism for the cover-up of an order to allow agents to shoot anyone seen leaving the Weaver cabin at Ruby Ridge. McVeigh said he believes Potts was manipulating him and forcing him to go off script, which I understood meant to change the target of the bombing, Nichols said. The affidavit was filed in a lawsuit brought by attorney Jesse Trentadue, whose brother Kenneth was tortured and beaten to death in an Oklahoma City federal prison in '95. Authorities claim Trentadue had committed suicide, but he was being held in a suicide-proof cell at the time, and autopsy photos of his body showed he'd been shot with a stun gun, bruised, burned, sliced, and then hung. Oh, he was hung. Jesse Trentadue has amassed evidence that his brother was mistaken for one of Tim McVeigh's alleged bombing accomplices, and in attempting to get him to talk, federal agents went too far and then tried to instigate a cover-up of the murder. Just like 9/11, the official story of the Oklahoma City bombing that McVeigh acted alone, carrying out the attack using a fertilizer truck bomb, is contradicted by a plethora of eyewitness accounts as well as physical and circumstantial evidence. For example, in early of '95, a Ryder truck identical to the one used in the bombing was filmed by a pilot during an overflight of an area near Camp Gruber Braggs, Oklahoma. A June 17, '97 Washington Post article authenticates the photos as being exactly what they appear to be. Photos of a Ryder truck and a clandestine base at Camp Gruber Braggs. Why were the military in possession of a Ryder truck housed in a remote clandestine Army base days before the bombing? In a '93 letter to his sister, McVeigh claimed that he was approached by military intelligence and had joined an elite squad of the government-paid assassins. McVeigh often contradicted himself and changed his story on a whim to fit in with the latest government version of events. Is the Camp Grafton footage evidence of McVeigh's enrollment in such a clandestine program? Multiple reports of Arabs at the scene assisting McVeigh were ignored and surveillance tapes were withheld under national security. The likely reason for this was the fact that Bush Sr. and Clinton were responsible for bringing in nearly 1,000 Iraqi soldiers captured by U.S. forces during the '91 Persian Gulf War, some of whom were involved in the bombing. The FBI claimed McVeigh scouted the Alfred P. Murrah building weeks before the bombing, and yet on the morning of the attack, he stopped at a local gas station to ask directions, lending credibility to the new claims that he was being controlled by other conspirators and that the target of the bombing had been changed. Original reports of 2 explosions and several failed devices being defused by bomb squads were buried by the establishment as the official explanation that McVeigh acted alone was punished. Scientific analysis conducted by General Benton K. Parton revealed core columns were blown out from within the building and that extensive damage to the Alfred P. Murrah building was completely inconsistent with the explanation of a single and relatively weak fertilizer truck bomb. Many eyewitnesses reported the bomb squads in full reaction gear were seen around the building immediately before the blast. Police officer Terrence Yeakey, who helped save dozens of victims, was one such witness. Yeakey compiled extensive files of his observations, but was later found with his throat and wrists slashed, having also been shot in the head after he told friends he was being followed by authorities. I guess it's just a coincidence, huh?
They always are.
They always are. There's a whole lot more to that, and you can find it on our website, neilrogers.com. 758 votes. What a shame. What a wicked web we weave when we practice to deceive, whatever the hell that means. 758. On the last day of my life, I want to go out and having the best damn blank I've ever enjoyed. Sex, 267. That's it. Three-way, 138. Sounds a little sexual to me. Wicked weed, 65. See, after the sex, it's way down the list.
Mm-hmm.
Wicked weed, 65. Vacation or trip, 63. I sure hope you've already arrived there on that day, not just leaving. Oh, and look at that. I hate this pulls up to 62, 8.1% as the Ventum continues coming on. You think you got stuff coming through your vents. Dreamer Fantasy 44, Party 39, Bowel Movement 39. I mean, why is that? I guess if you've been constipated for like 30 years, like my mother for 50 years. Pizza 16, stupid choice. Pizza. Meal 9, meal's a good choice, but it's not doing all that good. Drink 5, Cigar 5, Ice Cream 4, and Pee. The best pee ever 2. Oh man, like it caused like a flood all over South Florida.
Right. Let's abuse some more prisoners. Make them scream nice and loud. Get me some wires and a battery pack. I don't care if they ain't from Iraq. Should be used to the torture. 'Cause they're just playing their game. In the past, it had to be worse with Saddam Hussein.
Tim McVeigh, he's on trial for that fateful day. I am sure he's guilty as O.J. Do you believe in Tim McVeigh?
No.
Dave Koresh thought he'd stand up to the IRS. Janet Reno and the ATF. He took a beating in the press. Why'd he place that bomb and cause so much strife? Will he get the chair, or instead will he get life? Tim McVeigh, paranoid about the USA. Heard a rumor that he might be gay. According to Mike 48, I hate the government just as much as most of you.
Absolutely.
But I'm not ignorant, though I have a low IQ. Militiamen, most of them are doing 8 to 10. They can't have their weapons in the pen. Will Tim McVeigh be joining them?
Oi!
Bye, bye, bye!